So in today's video, we are going to be making this awesome Rasta Tam. If you want to learn how to make this, then definitely stay tuned. Things you will need include a pair of scissors, a size I USA crochet hook, a darning, weaving, tapestry needle, a stitch marker, and 4 colors. It's a Rasta Tam, so you want to definitely have your maize or yellow, your red, and your green. And as my base color, I'm using white. Normally I would use black, but it's really hot out, and so I think a lighter color is more fitting, so I'm using white. By the way, be sure to check out the link to this awesome crochet bag I found on Amazon. I'll have to do a show and tell video showing all of its features. It's really cool, and I will be making this Rasta Tam with those 4 skeins of yarn completely in the bag. That is to say, I'm not going to take them out at all. I love, love, love that crochet bag. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so we're going to start out with our base color, which is the white, and we're going to tie a slip knot. So just wrap it around your finger like that. Switch positions, wrap it again, pull this one over that one, and off your finger like that while pulling up, and that creates a loop. Then we're going to insert the crochet hook. Remember, this is a size I USA. Into the loop, and then tighten. Alright, so now we are going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to slip stitch back into that very first chain there. So just insert your crochet hook into the chain. I like to grab 2 strands when I enter a chain most times. Yarn over, and then pull all the way through. And now you've created this little ring. Okay? Now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. That will represent 1 double crochet. And we're going to crochet 14 more double crochets in this ring. Okay? So by the time we're done crocheting double crochets, we should have 14 double crochets plus this chain 3, which will count as a double crochet for a total of 15 stitches. Let's begin. 1 into the hole, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over into the ring again, the hole there, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. One more I'll do on camera. Yarn over into the ring, that hole there, and you can crochet over this tail. 3 loops, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Alright, so we've crocheted 3 double crochets. That means you have 11 more to crochet, and you should have a total of 15 stitches when you count this chain 3. I will see you there. So I have my total of 15 stitches when I count the chain 3 there. And now I'm going to slip stitch into that top chain there. Okay, so this is the chain 3. 1, 2, 3. That top chain, I'm going to slip stitch in there. So just put your crochet hook through there, yarn over, and just pull all the way through. Now I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and for this round, round 2, I'm going to put 2 stitches into every stitch. This chain 3 that I just created will count for that first stitch, which was that previous chain 3, but because every stitch will get 2 stitches, that means I need to add another stitch to this chain 3 from round 1. So I'm going to put a double crochet, yarn over, just enter the same place where you slip stitched, and make a double crochet, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Now go to the next stitch, which is there, yarn over, enter the top of the stitch, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go back into that same stitch, yarn over, pull through to the front 3 loops, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Okay, so this chain 3 there, it got 2 stitches, as you see, 1, 2, and then this next stitch got 2 stitches, 1, 2. Okay, so 2 and 2 for those 2. Continue on around, putting 2 double crochets into every stitch, and I will meet you there. Alright, so we are back at the beginning, and after putting 2 stitches in every stitch below, you should have a total of 30 stitches for round 2. Now it's time to slip stitch into that top chain of that chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, insert your hook, yarn over, and pull all the way through. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. So the pattern for this round, round 3, will be 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay? Right now, this first stitch, or I should say the stitch below, has 1 stitch. So now we're going to go to the next stitch, which is there, that actual double crochet. So this chain 3 is for that chain 3. That's the 1 stitch in there. The pattern is 1, 2, so this is 1, so that means that here has to go 2. So we're going to put 2 double crochets into that stitch. So 1, 2. Let's repeat the pattern. That means in this next stitch it's only going to get 1 double crochet. And in the next stitch, which is there, that's going to get 2. Yarn over, re-enter that same stitch for that second double crochet. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Continue adding your 1, 2 pattern around, and I'll meet you there. You should have a total of 45 stitches. Alright, so finishing up round 3, you should have a total of 45 stitches. The reason is round 2 had a total of 30 stitches. Round 1 had a total of 15 stitches, right? So for round 2, we doubled the number of stitches. We put 2 stitches in every stitch below. 2 stitches and 15 stitches gives you 30 stitches for round 2. However, for round 3, we only put 2 stitches in every other stitch. So instead of doubling the 30, which would make 60, we doubled half of 30, which is 15. And so 15 plus the 30 of round 2 gives you 45 for round 3. Alright, so now we are going to slip stitch into the top chain of that chain 3, 1, 2, 3. So just insert your hook, and you can get 1 strand or 2 like I do. Yarn over and pull all the way through. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. For this round, round 1, 2, 3, 4, the pattern is 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. So this chain 3, that's the 1. That chain 3 is the 1 for that one. The next stitch will also get a 1 because the pattern is 1, 1, 2. So that's the 1, 1. And in the next stitch there, we're going to put 2 double crochets. So 1, 2. Alright, now the pattern repeats. So 1, 1, 2. So next stitch 1, next stitch 1, next stitch 2. Go back in there. There you go. Okay? So 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Alright? I want you to continue with this pattern, the 1, 1, 2 pattern, until you get to the halfway point. Okay? You don't have to be super precise with it, but just kind of eyeball the halfway point, and you're going to, of course, end on the 2. Okay? And by the way, before I go on, let's go back to round 3 right quick. You should have ended on the 2. Okay? So you did 1, 2, 1, 2. In that final stitch, that should have been 2. Alright? So now getting back to round 4, sorry if that was confusing. Continue with the pattern 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2 all around until you've eyeballed the halfway point. ending on the 2. So that means that the last stitch that you crochet into, that stitch should have 2 stitches, okay? And I will meet you there because we're going to do something cool. Alright, so I am at what I perceive to be the halfway point. If you want to know, because I know there are going to be some of you guys who want to know exactly where I stopped. So you see how I'm crocheting into the stitches below? Basically, I crocheted into 24 stitches, okay? So starting with that chain 1 there from the previous round, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. This is the 24th stitch. That 24th stitch there, that's where I put my 2 double crochet, okay? So that's the 24th stitch. Alright, so now what we're going to do, you guys, is we're going to change colors. So I want you to remove your hook and pull it out like that, okay? Alright, so you might be thinking, Atreyu, why did you take out that double crochet? It's supposed to have 2. Yes, it is supposed to have 2, but I want to show you how I like to change colors, okay? So we're going to create that double crochet again, but we're going to do something different. So we yarn over, enter the same stitch again, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops, yarn over, go through 2, and now we're going to bring in that next color. So I'm going to choose yellow or maize or gold, whatever you want to call it. And now, instead of yarning over with the white and going through 2 to complete that double crochet, I'm going to bring in the maize. Hook it on and pull through 2 like that. Now I'm going to pull on the white that's coming from the working yarn, and then I'm going to pull on the yellow to make it smaller. So you can flip it over and just pull like that. And now you can tie a knot between the white yarn and the tail of the yellow. Okay. Really tight, and then tie a second one. Like that. And we can cut the white yarn now as well. So just measure it out to the approximate height of the maize and cut. And move the white out of the way because we're done with it for now. Alright, so now we're going to continue. And the reason we did it like that was so that that double crochet there, right there, could be all white. However, when we start next, that next double crochet will be maize, okay? So now, this is the next double crochet right there. We're going to put the 1 double crochet because we're starting the pattern. Remember, we just completed a 1, 1, 2, right? So now it's time to start the pattern over again, and the next one gets 1. And the next stitch gets 1. And then the next stitch gets 2. For the 1, 1, 2 pattern, okay? So you're going to continue with the pattern 1, 1, 2, and I will meet you back around here. Alright, I have now completed round 4. So round 1, round 2, round 3, and this is round 4. And notice that I ended on the 2. You should always end on the pattern with this tam. So 1, 1, 2. Now we're going to slip stitch into that top chain, 3rd chain up, 1, 2, 3. Insert your crochet hook, yarn over, and pull all the way through. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And the pattern for this round, round 5, is that every stitch will get 1 stitch. So this chain 3, got that, chain 3. This next stitch right here will get 1 double crochet. The next one will get 1 double crochet. The next one will get 1 double crochet, and so on, okay? So just continue crocheting 1 double crochet into each stitch, and I will meet you back around here. So as you see, we are back around now, and it is time to slip stitch. By the way, we did put one stitch in every stitch below, so this was not an increase round, and because we did not increase, we maintained 60 stitches. Remember, we had 60 stitches in the previous round, and you should also have 60 stitches for round 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This round, round 1, 15, round 2, 30, round 3, 45, round 4, 60, and then round 5, 60 again. So now, guess what, you guys? We're going to change colors again. I like the little design that the white is making right now. It's like, and then it kind of fans out and goes bigger on that side. So yes, let's switch to red next. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to insert a hook in the third chain up, 1, 2, 3, that top chain, like that. And instead of yarning over with the yellow, we're going to take our red and yarn over. So we'll bring in our red, just hook it on, pull it through, and because it's a slip stitch, remember you pull all the way through. Alright, now let's flip this over so you can see the back side. Pull on the yellow and the red, tighten, and then with the yellow that we have not yet cut and the red, we're just going to tie a couple of knots. So 1 tight, and then tie a second, 2. Alright, we can cut our yellow now, and I like to line it up with the new color just so the length is comparable. And now we'll flip this back over and we'll be starting this row with red. So now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Alright, so the pattern for round 6 is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So that's 5 ones and then 2. Okay, this chain 3 there on the yellow, the previous round, it got its 1 with that chain 3. So that's 1 of the 5 ones. So that means in the next 4 stitches, those 4 right there, we're going to also put 1 stitch, but they're going to be double crochets, of course. So just put it in there. That's 2. That's 3. The next one is 4. And the next one is 5. Okay? So those are our 5 ones. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that means in this next stitch, that's where the 2 will go. Go back in there. Like that. Okay? So 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. Let's do one more iteration of this pattern. So 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and then 2. Okay, so 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. Okay? Continue with this pattern, the 5 ones and then the 2, and I'll meet you back here. Remember, this last stitch right there should get the 2 if everything is being done properly. See you there. So we have gotten back around, and you will see that I ended on the 2, as I should have. That last stitch got 2, and just in case you think I cheated, look, here's the last 2. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2. Okay? So now what we're going to do is slip stitch into the third chain up, the top chain of that chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. Insert your crochet hook in there. Yarn over and pull all the way through. Now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And you're going to take your stitch marker and just put it around that chain 3 there, like that. You can go into one of the chains or you can just hook it around. Either way is fine. So for the next 12 rounds, we're going to be putting 1 double crochet into every stitch. Right now we are at a total of 70 stitches, so for the next 10 to 12 rounds, you can even make it longer if you want, you're going to be maintaining 70 stitches per round because we're no longer increasing. Okay? Now we're going to be doing some fun things with the color, but I just wanted to make sure that you knew that you put this marker here so that you can count the number of rounds, okay? 10 to 12 or beyond. But this is the first round where you are only putting 1 stitch into every stitch. Yes, we did that back in the previous round, but I mean from this point on, it's just maintaining 70 stitches, 1 stitch in every stitch. So what that looks like is, I'll do a few. So this chain 3 is in that one, so that's 1 stitch for that. Now let's put 1 stitch in here, and we're putting a double crochet. So that's 1. Okay, next stitch gets 1. Next stitch gets 1. Next stitch gets, you guessed it, 1. Okay, so you're going to continue doing that around until you get to, once again, the eyeballed halfway point. Okay, so divide it in half from that point and stop there. Last time you ended on the 2 because there was a pattern 1 1 2, or 1 1 1 1 1 2 or 1 2 1 2. I think it was 1 1 2 for the row that we did it. But this time, since we're only doing ones, right? Every stitch is just getting 1 stitch. You're inevitably going to end on a 1. So just make sure that you find the halfway point from here and stop there, and we're going to change colors. I will see you there. Alright guys, so I have reached my halfway point. I did cheat. I know that this round will have 70 stitches, so I just kept putting 1 stitch into every stitch below for 35 stitches because, hello, 70 divided by 2 is 35. So that's the halfway point. Alright, so now what we're going to do exactly what we did before, which is we're going to take this double crochet out, that last one that we did, and we're going to remake it, but we're not going to complete it. So yarn over, enter the next stitch, 3 loops, yarn over, go through 2, and now we're going to bring in the green or whatever color you're using, hook it on, right, pull it through the 2 loops, now flip it over, pull on the red really tightly and the green. Okay, and now we're going to tie a knot between the working red yarn that we have yet to cut and the green that we just brought in. Okay, so tie 1 knot really tightly like that because that closes everything up, and then tie a second one like that. Now line up the green tail and the working red yarn and cut the working red yarn. Sorry about the crochet banging on the countertop, table, desktop. Alright, so remember the reason that we do it like that is so that that last double crochet in red is completely red. Okay, and now the next stitch, which is going to get 1, the next double crochet that we make in there will be completely green. See? Alright, so just continue putting 1 double crochet in every stitch around, and I will meet you once we get back around to that stitch marker right there. Okay, see you there. Okay, so we're now back at the stitch marker, which means we're back at that chain 3, and we've put our last double crochet in that final stitch there. So now we're just going to proceed as normal, slip stitch into the 3rd chain up, the top chain, 1 2 3, yarn over and pull all the way through, and the stitch marker is just hanging there out of the way. Okay, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and remember for the next 10 to 12 rows or beyond, or rounds I should say, every stitch is going to get one stitch. So this red chain 3, that's the first stitch of the previous round, it got one stitch, which is that chain 3. The next stitch gets one double crochet. The next one gets one double crochet, and so on. We're going to do this whole round in green, so you don't have to worry about switching colors in the middle or anything. I will meet you once we get back around here. Okay, so now that we're back around, we're going to slip stitch into the top chain up, the third chain up, 1, 2, 3. But we're going to switch colors. You guessed it. So we are going to go to the yellow now. Back to the yellow. And we are going to do 3 rounds of yellow. Okay? So I've entered that top chain there. I'm just going to hook the yellow on and pull it all the way through since this is a slip stitch. Now I'm going to flip it that way, pull on the working green yarn so that you can see that loop close up, pull on the new yellow or maize working yarn, and now with the tail of the yellow, sorry that was out of the frame for a bit, with the tail of the yellow and the green from the working yarn, we'll tie a couple of knots. So one really tight, and then a second one. 2. Now it's time to get rid of the green yarn, so we're going to line up the tail of the yellow with the green, and we're going to cut the green and get it out of the way. So just as we've began and will continue to begin every round, we're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and remember every stitch is still only going to get one stitch. So that chain 3 in the green got its one stitch with the chain 3 in the maize or yellow. The next stitch therefore will get a double crochet. As will the next one, as will every one that comes after it. Okay, all the way around. So I want you to do 3 rounds of this maze. Okay, so when you get back around here, slip stitch to the top chain, do another round, and then do it one more time. Slip stitch to the top of that chain 3 and do one more round, that third round. After you have completed 3 rounds of maze, I will meet you there and we will change colors again. See you there. So I just completed the 3rd round of the maze, and now I am going to switch colors. The next color will be red. So whenever I am slip stitching to a chain 3 or a chain and I need to switch colors, I like to do it this way. So go into the top chain and then grab the new color, which as I said is red. You guys will be pros when it comes to switching yarn colors after this tutorial. Hook it onto the crochet hook and then just pull all the way through because it is a slip stitch that we're making. Now flip it over, grab the maize and pull on it, and pull on the red as well that we're working, the new working yarn. Okay, and now take the tail of the red and the working maize and just tie a couple of knots. One really tight and then a second one. We're done with the maize for now, so we'll line up the red tail and the maize yarn and just cut it. Okay, now we'll get the maize out of the way and begin working with the red. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're still putting one stitch in every stitch below, so double crochet goes into the next stitch because that chain 3 counted for that chain 3 there. Alright, so just continue putting one double crochet in every stitch for 3 rounds, and I will meet you after you complete your 3 rounds of red. See you there. So now it's time to switch to the green. I've completed my 3 rows of the red. And here I've prepared myself to make that slip stitch by entering the 3rd chain up of that chain 3. So I'm going to grab my green yarn, hook it on to the crochet hook, and pull all the way through. Okay, now I flip it to the inside, pull on the working red that's soon to go, pull on the green as well, and then take the tail of the green along with the working red and tie a couple of knots. 1, 2. Line up the tail of the green and the working red, and now we're done with the red. And we are solely working with the green. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we just continue putting 1 stitch in every stitch below. And of course we are making double crochets, as you guys know. So now I want you to complete 3 rounds of the color green, and I will meet you at the end of that 3rd round of green. See you there. Alright, I just completed my 3rd row of green, and by the way, if we count from the stitch marker, which is on that red right there, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'm completing the 11th row. Now remember I said 10 to 12 rounds, or beyond if you want. Well, I am making this for someone who has a lot of hair and requires that I go beyond. So if you're not making this for someone with a lot of hair, then you can stop here and wait until I tell you to join again. Okay? But for those of you who want to keep going with me, then follow along. So I'm going to prepare to slip stitch by going into the top chain of that chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then enter like that. And now I'm going to drop the green, and I'm going to bring in white. Hook it on like so. Pull it all the way through because I'm making a slip stitch. Flip it. Pull on the green, the working yarn, and the tail of the white. And now I'm going to tie 2 knots between those 2. Tight knots. Now I'm going to stretch the tail of the white alongside the working green, which I'm about to be done with, and I'm going to cut my yarn. Alright, so put the green aside, and now I'm working with the white. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to continue putting 1 stitch in every stitch. So this green chain 3 has the white chain 3, that's the 1 stitch. The next stitch gets a double crochet. You guys are well aware of this. So complete 3 rounds of the white, and I will meet you there. Alright, so I've completed my 3 rows of white, and now I'm about to change colors yet again. So here's the chain 3, 1, 2, 3, the top chain of that chain 3. I like to get 2 strands on just for extra security. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the yellow. Just hook it on. You guys know how to do this. And then pull all the way through. Turn it to the back side, pull on the yellow, pull on the white really tightly, and then tie a knot. It always slips out of the frame at that part. My apologies, but you guys know what to do. Alright, now cut the white yarn after you line it up with the yellow tail. Alright, so now for those of you who didn't want that extra length, you can rejoin us here. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to break this round up into 3 parts, meaning the first part will be one color, the second part will be another color, and the third part will be another color, a different color from the previous 2. The first color, we're going to be putting 1 stitch into every stitch for 23 stitches. Okay, so the first color we're going to, in this case it's maize, I'm going to crochet including this chain 3, so that counts as 1. I'm going to be crocheting with the yellow for 23 stitches. Then the next 24 stitches will be the next color, and then the final 23 stitches will be that third color. Okay, so just put 1 double crochet in every stitch for the next stitches. Okay, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5. Okay, and I'm going to meet you once we get to that 23rd stitch. See you there. Okay, I've crocheted my 23 double crochets, and that is including that first chain 3. Now I'm going to change colors. Now I could undo this final double crochet and do it the way that we've been doing it, almost completing the double crochet, and then right before I do the last yarn over pull through, I bring in the red. But I'm thinking ahead, and I know that I can leave the yellow yarn attached and just loop in the red, and then on the next round bring in that red at that point. So I am going to forego cutting the yellow for now. So this is just another way. It all depends on the patterns that you're doing, but this is another way to do it. Okay, so I'm going to loop in the red, as I said. I'm going to pull, and you're in the frame this time, pull on the yellow so that that loop disappears. But then I'm also still going to tie a knot with the red tail. Okay, 2 knots. Alright, so now I'm going to keep the yellow out of the way because I want it to stay right there when I get back around to this point. And I'm just going to crochet with the red. So I'm just going to continue with the double crochets, but this time I'm going to crochet 24 double crochets with the red. So I yarned over, went into the top of the stitch, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. That's 1. And that's 2. And 3. And so on. Okay? So crochet 24 of these red double crochets, and then we're going to switch to green and you'll crochet 23, and that should give you a total of 70 stitches. 23 plus 23 is 46, plus 24 is 70. Alright, I will see you once it's time to switch to the green. So I've crocheted all 24 of the red, so 23 of the yellow, 24 of the red, and now it's time to crochet 23, the remaining 23 of green. I'm going to bring in the green yarn, and I'm going to do something that was slightly different than I did with the maize or the yellow. Okay, so I'm not going to cut the red. That will be the same, but what I'm going to do is when I loop this green in like that, pull it through, and then I'll pull on the red to close the loop, and I hold the tail there so I don't lose it. And then I'm still gonna tie a knot or a couple of knots just like before with the maize and red, but I know that I want to use the red later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, while I'm using the green, crochet over the red. Okay, So now I'm going to make 23 double crochets. 1 double crochet in the remaining 23 stitches. Okay, crocheting over the red. So let's go a little bit closer so you get a good look. Alright, so here's the red, and I have the maze completely out of the way because I don't want it to get tangled. Okay, so yarn over with the green. The red is there, holding it down over the stitches, and then I just go into the top of the stitch like normal and make my double crochet. And you can kind of pull it a little bit so it, yeah. And then, yeah, just continue to crochet 1 double crochet per stitch, crocheting over the red yarn. The reason that you're crocheting over the red yarn once again is because we're going to use it later. So of course you could cut your yarn, cut the red yarn and bring it back in later, but I think it's easier to just crochet over it to bring it with you. Okay, so let me get these 23 green double crochets made, and I will meet you once I get back around to begin the next round. Okay, so I am back around, as evidenced by the maze there, and what I want to do next is start with the red. So because I carry the red with me, it's right there, so all I need to do is hook it onto the crochet hook and pull it through. Now I'm going to pull on the green, which is still attached, like that, okay, so that that loop disappears, and now I have the working red yarn. I am going to carry this green with me, okay? Now make sure your yarn doesn't get tangled. Make sure you keep the green separated from the red, but now we're working with the red, so now it's time to slip stitch into that top chain as normal. So just enter the stitch, enter the chain stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then pull all the way through. Alright, now we're going to lie the green on top as we crochet. So we slip stitch, now we chain 3 as normal, 1, 2, and 3. And we want to carry this green yarn with us while we're working with the red. So we just put the green yarn on top and we're going to crochet over it. So yarn over, get the green yarn, and then go into the next stitch there. Yarn over, and notice the green is on top there. Pull through to the front, 3 loops. Yarn over, go through 2. Yarn over, go through 2. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, and we're crocheting over that green yarn there. See? Yarn over, go through 2. Yarn over, go through 2. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, crocheting over the green yarn. So over here we carry the red yarn. Over here we're carrying the green yarn because we're going to use it a little bit later. So put 1 red stitch, which is a double crochet, into every yellow stitch, and then I will meet you once it's time to crochet into these red stitches here. So this is what we have. We're at the point where we are going to be crocheting into these red double crochets there. So we know we need to switch colors. And we have the green that we carried with us, which actually will be the color that we're going to use next. Now you might be wondering, why don't you use the maze next? Well, think about it. If we use the maze next, then that means that once we get around here, it'll be time to use green, but we don't want green on top of green, right? So we're going to use green next. So the green will be on the red, and then the maze will be on the green. The way that we're going to get this maze yarn over there is that we're going to carry it with us. Okay? So what we're going to do now is loop in the green like that, pull on the red like that, and now we're going to, when we're working with the green, crochet over both the red and the yellow yarns. Okay, so we'll just continue with the double crochets as normal. So I have the red and the maize here that I'm going to crochet over, and I'm working with the green. So yarn over, put the maize and red on top, and go into the next stitch. Yarn over, pull through to the front, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, next stitch, make the double crochet, yarn over, next stitch, crocheting over both the maize and the red. Okay, and just keep creating double crochets, and I will see you once we get to the green over here. See you there. Now we're at the green, and now it's time to use maize. So we're gonna drop the green, pick up the maize, yarn over just to loop it in, and then pull on the green so that that loop gets really small. And we're gonna crochet over both the green and the red yarns. So pull the green really tight and then start to make your double crochets. So we're crocheting in the green stitches now, so just go on the top like normal. Make sure you're crocheting over the red and the green yarn. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. And see how there's a little bit of that green? Yeah, just pull it tight like that. And go on to the next one. Make another double crochet. And another. And so on. So crochet the remaining 23 double crochets in maize, and I'll meet you once we get back around. Alright, we're back around. The next color that we're going to use is green. We've already used maize in this area. We've already used red, so now it's time to use green. So we're going to take the green, yarn over, loop it through, and then pull on the maize so that loop disappears. So now we're going to be crocheting over the maize and the red. So we want to kind of put those to the back because we're going to crochet on top of them. And then we're going to slip stitch into this top chain of the chain 3, 1, 2, 3. So just go into the top chain like normal. Don't worry about crocheting over the other colors when you slip stitch. Pull all the way through. Tug on that again. Okay. Now we're going to chain 3 because we're working with the green. That's not why we chain 3. We chain 3 because that's what you do, but we are working with the green. And now we're going to lay these other 2 colors on top while we're crocheting with the green because we're going to use them a little bit later. So yarn over, put those on top, not the white, and make sure they're on top. Enter the stitch, yarn over, pull through to the front, making sure you don't snag anything, and then 3 loops, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go into the next stitch, crocheting over the maize and the red there, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, another stitch, crocheting over the maize and red, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Okay, so continue with these until it's time to switch colors here. I'll see you there. So now that we're at the point where we need to switch colors, as is evidenced by the fact that this is red right here and now it's green. So what we're going to do is the next color will be maize. So we're going to loop in the maize like that. And then you're going to pull on that green so that loop disappears. But guess what, you guys? We get to cut the green because we're done with it. Yay! Okay, and now flip it on the inside, and we're going to tie a couple of knots between the green and the maize. So 1 and then 2. Alright, so now we're left with 2 colors, red and maize. So while we're working with the maze, we'll be crocheting over the red. Make sure you're crocheting into the appropriate stitches, okay? Yarn over, enter the next stitch, which is there. The fact that it's green is a dead giveaway. And just crochet over the red yarn, carrying it with you. The reason we're taking the red with us is because we're going to use it for that final section of this round. I will see you there. So now it's time to change colors one last time for this round, and obviously it's time to use red. So just as before, we are going to loop in the red like so. Just pull it through. Now grab the yellow and pull that tight so that that loop disappears. Then we're going to cut the yellow because we are done with it. And now we're going to tie a couple of knots with the red. Like so. And now we will just finish out the remaining 23 stitches with red double crochets. So the next stitch is this yellow there. We'll enter the top of it. And you can crochet over the tail if you want. 3 loops, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. See how you can kind of see it there? That's one reason why I probably would opt not to crochet over it, because it's not like the yellow is down at that level. It's kind of hanging up there because that's where the exchange happened. So I would just let it hang to the back and then crochet my double crochet like normal, and then I could weave in this tail later. Okay, that would be my preference. So just continue making red double crochets, and I will see you at the end of this round. Alright guys, so this is what it is looking like so far. And as you can see, I've completed the red. So now we're going to do one more row, a different color. We're going to go back to the white. And I'm going to, since I'm dropping the red, I'm going to enter the third chain up, the top chain, 1, 2, 3. Like that. And instead of hooking or yarning over with the red, I'm going to hook the white on and pull that through. Now I'm going to pull on the red so that loop disappears. And then I'm going to line the white and the red yarns up and then cut. Now I'm going to tie a couple of knots. And you can adjust the white loop before you tie the knots, or it'll be stuck at that size that you tie the knot at. Okay? So just tie a couple of knots. 1, 2. I don't know if that made sense when I said adjust the loop. See how I'm pulling but I don't have any slack? The reason I don't is because I tied the knots there. So that's why I say to adjust it to the size that you want, then tie the knots. Alright, so with this round we are going to be using the single crochet. So I'm going to chain 1, and we are going to be doing the spike stitch. If you don't know how to do the spike stitch, then I have a video showing you how to do it, so you can check that out, or you can continue watching and pick it up from me right now. Alright, so I've chained 1, and I'm going to tell you now that I'm going to be utilizing these 3 rows below. Okay? You'll see what I mean. So let's start out with the single crochet. We're going to put it in between this chain 3 and that double crochet. So instead of going into the top of the stitch, we're going to go in between there, and I'm just going to make a single crochet. Alright, so the chain 1 was for that chain 2, the single crochet was for that stitch. The next single crochet will be for this stitch, but instead of going in between there, we're going to go down another row. So we're going to put our crochet hook down in that stitch, in between those two. So this stitch is in that stitch, so we're going to go in between those. Yarn over like you would any other time you're making a single crochet. Give your yarn some slack to get you back up to the height of the row, and go through 2. Alright, now moving on to the next stitch, you guessed it, we're going to go down to the yellow. So if you ever want to know where to go when you're going to a row that's lower, just follow the stitch. What I mean is, this is the next stitch, so normally I would go in there, but I don't want that round. This stitch is in that stitch, so then I could go in there, but I don't want that round for this one. This stitch is in that stitch, that stitch is in that stitch, so and there is where I want to go. So insert my hook way down there in between those two yellows, yarn over, pull it through, and give yourself enough slack to get yourself up to the height of the row. 2 loops, yarn over, go through 2. And then we're just going to keep alternating like this. So this is the pattern. Single crochet going into the first row or round, then the next single crochet goes down 1 round lower, and then the next single crochet goes down even 1 more round lower. And then we're just going to start it over again. So this next one will go in here, like that. The next one, which is there, will go in that one down there below. The next one, which is there, will go down there. Don't forget to give yourself enough slack to get up to the height of this round. The next one is for this stitch, but it's going to go down there. I keep wanting to yarn over because I've been doing the double crochet this whole time, and now we're just doing the little measly single crochet. So yeah, it's taking some work. Alright, and now we're back up to the first row. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, and this is the spike stitch. So I'm going to continue around, and I want you to do the same, and I will meet you back here. See you there. So we're back around. I ended with starting the pattern again using a single crochet that goes in that very top round. Now I'm going to slip stitch into the chain 1 there. So yarn over, pull all the way through, and try not to snag anything. It can be tough at times. So I have slip stitched into the chain 1, and now we're going to go back to the other colors, the other 3 colors. The remaining 3 rows will utilize the half double crochet, and we're also going to be doing front post and alternating that with the back post. Okay? So now I need to switch the yarn. I'm going to bring in the yellow first. Alright, and then I'm going to pull on the white to make that loop disappear, like that. Now I'm going to tie a couple of knots. I'm telling you, you guys are going to be color changing experts after this video. Alrighty, now we can cut the white yarn, line it up with the yellow. Alright, so the white is done. No more white for the rest of this project. Because we're doing the half double crochet though, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. And in this first single crochet, we're going to do the front post half double crochet. So the way you do the front post half double crochet is you yarn over, because you would yarn over for the regular half double crochet. Go in from the front to the back, come around that single crochet back out to the front, yarn over, pull it through, and you'll have 3 loops. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, go through everything like that. The next stitch is here, and we're going to do a back post half double crochet. So yarn over, come from the back, around and back out to the back. Now yarn over, pull through, yarn over, go through all 3. Okay, that's the back post. Front post with the next one, this long one, from the front to the back, back out to the front, yarn over, pull all the way through. 3 loops, yarn over, go through all 3. Back post, yarn over, come from the back, out to the front, and then back out to the back. Yarn over, pull through, so you have 3 loops on your crochet hook. Now yarn over, go through all 3. Okay, so just continue doing this, and I'll meet you back around here. Let me do a couple more before I go. Yarn over, front post, back post, front post, back post. Alright you guys, I'll see you here. Alright, so I am back around, and I'm going to show you another way to change colors when working with chains. So I'm going to slip stitch into the top chain of the chain 2, 1, 2, that's the top one. Go through 2 of the strands, yarn over, pull all the way through. So you can complete the slip stitch first and then switch to the color, okay, whatever color you're going to use. So now I'm going to bring in the green. So I'm going to just loop it on to my crochet hook like that. Pull on the yellow so that loop disappears, and then tie a couple of knots before cutting the yarn. And when I say the yarn, I mean the yellow. Alright, line it up and snip. Now I'm going to chain 2 because I'm still working with the half double crochet. So it's 1, 2, and I'm going to match each stitch below. So this was a front post, so that means that I'm going to do a front post around it. So yarn over, from the front to the back, back out to the front, yarn over, 3 loops, 1, 2, 3, yarn over, go through all 3. This next stitch that's sitting in the back is, yes, a back post half double crochet. Yarn over, go from the back to the front, around and back out to the back. Yarn over, pull through 3 loops, yarn over, go through 3. This is a front post, so I'm going to match it with a front post half double crochet. Yarn over from the front to the back, back out to the front on the other side of that same stitch. Yarn over, pull through 3 loops, go through all 3, and just keep alternating. Back post, next front post half double crochet, next back post half double crochet, next front post half double crochet, next back post half double crochet. Continue in this fashion and I will meet you back here. I've now completed the round using the green, so I'm going to slip stitch into the top chain, yarn over, and pull all the way through. Now it's time to switch to the red. Hook it on, pull it through. Okay, now flip, pull on the green. Let's get that yellow out there so that that loop disappears, and then you can tighten the red as well. And now you're going to tie a couple of knots with the green. 1, 2, and we can cut down and cut the green off. Chain 2, 1, 2, because we're making the half double crochet still. Alright, and once again match the stitch. Well, that's front post right there, so we're gonna do a front post. Yarn over from the front to the back and back out to the front, yarn over, go through all three. Back post is there, from the back around, back out to the back, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops, go through all three. Front, back post, front post, back post, front post, back post, front post, back post, front post, back post. Okay, so just continue in this manner, and I'll meet you once we get back around to here. See you there. After completing the row of red, we're going to do a second row of red. So substitch into the second chain 1, 2, yarn over, pull all the way through, chain 2, 1, 2, and then once again match the stitches. That's front post right there. So I'm going to do a front post from the front to the back, back out to the front, yarn over, pull through, go through all 3 loops. Next one is a back post, back there, yarn over from the back out to the front, around and back out to the back, yarn over, pull through the way you came, yarn over, go through 3. Front post, back post. I will meet you once we get back around here. We're coming on around to the end of this round and I have 2 more stitches to complete. A back post there and a front post. So yarn over from the back, 3 loops, yarn over, go through 3, and then yarn over from the front. Alright, and now we're back around and we're about to be done. So instead of slip stitching into the top chain of that chain 2, we're going to go right to that front post half double crochet there. Just go into the top of it like that, yarn over and pull all the way through. Chain 1, cut your yarn and fasten off. Now you can turn this around, go through a nearby stitch, and then yarn over, pull it through like that, and then yarn over like you're about to make a chain, pull it through like that, so that when you pull, you get a nice little knot. And there's a tendency for this tail to want to stay on the inside. Alright, now as far as all of these other tails, you can cut them down now. You have already tied double knots. If you're really afraid of the yarn unraveling, then you can tie some more knots, you know, between them. So you tie it like this with that one, 1, 2, and then cut it down, and then tie this one with the red one, 1, 2, and then once you have enough knots made and you feel comfortable, then yeah, just cut them down so that they don't fly out. Okay, so I'm going to clean this hat up. Don't forget to take out your stitch marker, and yeah, I'll be back once I have cleaned this tam up. I'll see you in a few. So I've cleaned up most of these, and I just want to bring your attention to the top where we first started. There's a tail there. You can pull that to close it a little bit, and then you can use your darning weaving tapestry needle. So just feed it through and just go through some nearby stitches to really like close it up more. And then you can go through a loop. So just take your crochet hook, preferably a smaller one if you have one. Yarn over, pull through. Actually, I don't like splitting the yarn like that. Okay, that's better. Yarn over, pull through. And then once again, act like you're about to chain one. And then pull through. And you can cut that down as well. Alright, so I have tidied this up now. I've cut all the tails down except for this one tail that will serve as the tag for this tam, so you always know where the back is. And then there were a couple of these where it's just one lone tail, the other is crocheted over, so those I left. You can cut them down if you want, but no one's gonna see them anyway. So you turn it back to the right side. This is the center, the back center. And this is what you got, you guys. Isn't this an awesome tam? Oh my gosh, I love this design. So you kind of got some staggering early on with where we change colors in the middle of the rounds. And then you be consistent, and then you're consistent with just the double crochets, 3 rows of each color, including the white. Then we start to alternate with the colors within the round for 3 rounds, stacking them, making sure that you don't have the same colors stacked above each other. For instance, this is red, then green, then maize. And then of course we top it off, we finish it off with this stretchy band so that it will fit comfortably on the head of the person who will be wearing it. So yeah, you guys. Oh yeah, and of course you got the spikes, which I think just adds something really special to it. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. I enjoyed making it. It was a lot of work, but you guys will definitely become experts at changing yarn colors after completing this project. So that is going to be it for this video. You know I'll see you in the next one. In the meantime, happy crocheting.